Crossroads. In one of the largest mosques in the world, hundreds of people gather for the Friday prayer. They bow and kneel as the Imam leads them through the service. It could be anywhere in the Muslim world, but here the Quran is likely to be in Italian. This is Rome, Italy, the heart of Catholicism, where every week thousands pack St. Peter's Square to get a glimpse of the Pope. This is also Italy, a country in transition, where a young and growing Muslim community is struggling to find its place.
Noi vogliamo essere veri cittadini, buoni cittadini, rispettosi della legge, dello Stato, ma di essere musulmani nello stesso momento.
Ali Abu Shwaima leads an influential mosque in Segrate, a suburb just outside Milan. Today, for the first time, the prayer service is open to men and women of all faiths, followed by a lunch of pizza and couscous.
Conoscerci da vicino per vedere anche e loro cosa sono e noi cosa siamo, almeno che avvicinarci, ecco, questo è il motivo della visita.
Father Franco Cello of the local church came with 20 of his parishioners.
Quando io sento parlare degli stranieri in genere e degli stranieri di religione musulmana, soprattutto prevale questo, pregiudizio e paura.
Italy, a country of 60 million, has seen its Muslim population soar since the 1990s. Nearly 1 million Muslims live here today. Most come from North Africa, Morocco, Egypt, Tunisia, looking for work. Their presence is being felt more and more throughout the country.
The fact that Catholics are so important, or are so many in Italy, at least officially, has never been a problem for Muslim people. Over the last years, of course, many people speak of a clash of civilization, and so some cultural circles started to say that one thing is to be an immigrant, another thing is to be a Muslim immigrant.
Mario Marazziti is the spokesman of the community of Sant'Egidio, a Catholic organization that's often the first stop for immigrants coming to Italy. He says many Muslims arrive with misconceptions.
They think that all Europe are made of naked women and drunk people. And when they meet people like us, they are shocked. They can meet Christians who pray, who are pleasant people, are not naked, at least not every moment.
Just as other immigrant groups, the major problem Muslims face is the language barrier.
Molte famiglie purtroppo, magari il padre era già qui in Italia, ma ha fatto venire poi la moglie con i figli, quindi è proprio una difficoltà di lingua.
Laila is a primary teacher in Milan at Italy's first Italian Arabic school, which opened last fall. It's not a religious school. The curriculum is the same you'd find in all public schools in Italy. But most of its students are Egyptian, and the school is funded by the Egyptian government. Many see an Arab school as a threat.
Scuole, cioè non vedo il perché loro devono avere una scuola per conto loro.
In smaller cities like Albenga, a town of 20,000 south of Milan, the presence of Muslim communities has created even more tensions. On the one hand, this agricultural town has an increasing need for labor. On the other, a growing population of mainly Moroccan workers and their families has brought mistrust.
Poi nessuno le impone di essere religiosi e cattolici, ma almeno che siano rispettare le regole che ci sono, cioè il fatto che uno giri col velo mi sembra una libertà proprio.
Per un musulmano qui è difficile perché lo vedono sempre come un mostro, soprattutto una donna coperta con un velo.
Nadia Harris came to Italy 10 years ago. She says although one part of her already feels Italian, it's very hard as a Muslim to fit in.
Abbiamo trovato dei problemi per festeggiarla, non abbiamo un posto perché siamo costretti a comprare i montoni di nascosto, macellarli di nascosto, senza controllo dei veterinari, senza niente. Poi durante il mese di Ramadan tutti ci guardano male e ci dicono ma siete fuori di testa, siete scemi che non mangiate, ma manco bere dell'acqua. Queste domande a noi ci danno noia.
Ma noi a volte un po' di gente credono che noi portiamo di bombe, di terrorismo, non lo so. Uno che ce l'ha di bambini così, portiamo veramente, siamo sinceri, portiamo un messaggio di pace.
Ismail Kazmi leads the Islamic prayer here in Albenga. He's not a real imam. The local community can't afford one.
La casa lì, una volta al mese raccogliamo qualche soldi, vedete? Quanti miliardi, non lo so io, sono tanti.
They've talked to city officials about getting help to move to a larger space for prayer, but the money never materializes.
Un tipo di scuola di questo genere.
Over 600 Islamic centers have popped up in Italy in recent years, but most are like this one, rooms or garages the size of a bedroom that operate with no state oversight. Colle Valdelsa in Tuscany is the only town where Muslims are working in partnerships with local authorities to build an Islamic center. Muslims here will soon have their own Casa di Vetro, a prayer and education space made mainly of glass to symbolize openness and transparency. But local residents don't share the mayor's vision.
Le nostre abitazioni si stanno già svalutando notevolmente. Non è il musulmano che svaluta l'immobile, sarà la confusione e fra parentesi o virgolette, il terrorismo che potrebbe esserci.
The Giule Mani dal Parco committee raised 4,000 signatures to block the project. Residents here feel that a large mosque would attract a huge number of Muslims and potential terrorists. But the Muslim community disagrees.
I musulmani vanno dove ci sono le moschee e intorno alle moschee sono tutto il mondo musulmano. Cioè a Roma c'è la moschea più grande del mondo e dell'Europa, ma tutti i musulmani europei vivono intorno alla moschea di Roma.
Feras Jabarin, the local imam, sees the project as contributing to the cultural heritage of Italy.
Lo scontro non tra le civiltà, lo scontro diventa all'interno della stessa civiltà.
Cardinal Paul Poupard is a leading figure at the Vatican. He's in charge of interfaith dialogue. Last year, when a controversial speech by the Pope infuriated the Muslim world, he traveled to Turkey with the pontiff to make amends.
Alors, ces deux hommes en blanc, c'est quelque chose de plus fort que tous les écrits.
Poupard says the time is now for Muslims and Catholics to reach out to each other.
Avec les autres religions, en particulier les musulmans, nous devons prendre conscience que ce qui fait difficulté, c'est pas que nous avons une foi différente, mais c'est que beaucoup n'en est pas du tout. Voilà. Nous avons besoin de nous aider les uns les autres.
But both sides agree it will take time for these two ancient cultures to learn to live together.
La società culturale, si può dire, è una cosa di realtà. Bisogna riconoscerla, bisogna adeguare le leggi a questo, bisogna convivere insieme, perché non abbiamo nessuna alternativa.
Nous essayons de marcher dans ce sens, et si parfois certains sont impatients, je le réponds avec mon ami le cardinal Newman, one step is enough for me. Un pas, c'est assez pour moi.
Pep, 4, 3, 2, 1.
15 years of negotiations, Bulgarians celebrated their acceptance into the European Union on the first day of the new year. But in the small town of Kozloduy, residents mourned. Bulgaria's EU membership came with a condition: the closure of the Soviet reactors in the Kozloduy nuclear complex. Rusho Pervanov came to Kozloduy during the era of Brezhnev and Nixon for a prestigious job as a nuclear technician. The plant was once a marvel of Soviet technology, but international atomic energy inspectors had concluded it would never meet their safety standards. Kozloduй's safety was first questioned after the fall of communism in 1990, when a comedy show aired this fake news report.
Внимание! 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 Днес в 10 часа възникна авария в атомната електроцентрала. Да се прекрати движението на хората,
thinking the
и на
images were real.
транспортните средства, с изключение на крайна необходимост.
The country used millions in EU development money to improve the plant, and it was certified safe. Now, even Peter Kurumbashev, the man who produced the show, says the reason for closure is not safety, but politics.
Които е доказано, че са абсолютно технически изгодни, технически изрядни и категорично политическо решение.
Rusho Pervanov agrees. On December 31st, he sadly supervised the shutdown of the reactors.
Ние още не сме си загубили работните места, всичките сме на работа, слава Богу. Но и на децата е ясно, че едно производство, като произвежда нещо, това не може да продължи до безкрайност, хората да стоят на работа. Настоящия министър Румен Овчаров работеше на това. Да, тук работеше и бившия енергиен министър Милко Ковачев. Като станаха политици, че нещо ще направят за тия блокове, но явно нещата са съвсем по-други в политиката и надеждите ни останаха на празни.
In the new era, Kozloduy became political baggage, a troublesome relic at a time of transition into the European community. To Bulgarians, the town is a symbol of resistance and national pride. On this shore in 1876, a small force of Bulgarians is said to have died in battle against the ruling Ottoman Turks. But to the outside world, the town was synonymous with the nuclear reactors and their perceived dangers. At Igor Kurchatov Nuclear High School, students no longer see their futures in Kozloduy.
Говори се доста, че няма да е така след затварянето ни. Като се затворят тия двата блока, вече ще поугасне живота в Kozloduy, горе-долу.
Until recently, its graduates were virtually promised a job in the nuclear plant. But this year, its enrollment has dropped.
Милисекунди, значи 0,5.
Перфектно. Ако са тръгнали да учат в тази паралелка точно, значи си има точно определена цел за работа в централата.
Вероятно, защото другите си излизали тук и са свършали веднага на работа в АЕЦа. Работата е осигурена, ние трябва да се търсим първо.
Ironically, the EU's insistence on closing the politically touchy Kozloduy reactors has revived plans to complete another Soviet plant, this time using new technology. It's near the village of Belina, just 3 hours away.
Мислите ли си, че може един ден да почне Белене да работи?
Мисли ли сме, че съм почнал да учим тук? Да, надявам се.
This plant was abandoned 17 years ago. Half-built apartment blocks, once meant to house workers and their families, still stand nearby. The plant was caught in the turmoil of the late 80s, when protests from a vibrant environmental movement helped bring down the communist government.
Тогава в еуфорията на нещата, в новите демократични промени, хората гледаха с много добро око на еколозите и ние тогава успяхме да докажем на България, че проектът Белене е абсолютно ненужен.
Albena Simeonova is an organic farmer near Belina. She has organized protests against the new nuclear plant.
Ситуацията в момента е много по-различна от тогава. Хората са по-бедни, в района безработицата е изключително висока, в някои места минава над 50%.
Her activism has come at a price.
Сигурно знаете, многократно съм заплашвана. Ами дойдоха с едно огромно БМВ. Дошли сме да ви кажем, че най-добре за вас, най-здравословно е да напуснете района. Много добре знаем, че живеете тук сама с възрастния си баща и малкия си син. Сега да ви кажа, че не съм се оплашала, ще ви излъжа.
Simeonova's views are at odds with locals like Ibrahim Ahmed. He invited us into his home.
Какво мислиш ти за ядрената енергия?
Мисля, че от една страна е добре да се построи тук в атомна централа в Белене. Значи погледнато, работни места, обезпечаване, безработица, глад, мизерия няма да има повече Белене.
Ahmed worked on the Belena site until construction was stopped.
Жизненият стандарт беше малко по-високо ниво. Хората просто, може би имам предвид, не се нуждаеха от такова нещо. А сега вече са принудени. Принудени са да има АЕЦ. Замряга.
He left Belena because he couldn't find work after the collapse of communism. For 15 years, Ahmed has been living as an undocumented laborer in Western Europe, only returning to Belena once a year.
Връщам се при положение, че нещата се оправят, заплатите са европейски. Да. Да, аз... Разберете, аз изпитам носталгия към държавата. Ами, още повече, жена ми е тук. Внучките са ми тук. Сина ми е тук. Аз съм сам един навън.
The first reactor is expected to go online in 6 years, employing up to 5,000 people. Back in Kozloduy, an emotional Rusho Provanov clings to the faint hope, maybe an outlandish fantasy, that the Kozloduy reactors will one day resume working, too.
Надявам разумно да надделее и отново да се върне в нормалния си ритъм на работа. Ако не стане това, сами виждате и ще видите, че това е едно перфектно състояние на едно предприятие, което няма друго такова в България.
While Bulgaria's transition into Europe may be leaving Kozlodoy's residents behind, in Sofia, a younger generation is looking forward to a future as Europeans.
They have somebody with the ball and one standing and a man with a stick, so that when he throws the ball, then the one with the stick have to punch the ball, then the one who follow it, catch it.
This cab driver in Accra, the capital city of the West African nation of Ghana, is describing a game seldom seen around here.
They are trying to talk to their kids how to play soccer. You see, all they know is soccer, 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 soccer.
Sharif Muhammad is one of a handful of Ghanaians who've latched onto America's game.
Do you have baseball guys around you guys? Who play baseball? Do you play baseball?
No.
Baseball has crossed many borders over the years. It's huge in Japan and the Caribbean. But Ghana doesn't even have a single field set aside for it. That hasn't stopped a handful of believers from trying to nurture the game here.
Rafael! Can I give you 5?
While the government is funding the bulk of the $39 million overhaul of the National Football Stadium, the baseball team plays on a converted garbage dump. After they cleaned it up, soccer teams installed a goal in shallow left field. The backstop doesn't. The Ghanaian national team is cobbled together from players on the senior team in Accra and the team in Tema, the port city 16 miles to the east. The two squads are each other's only competition.
The first time I saw the game, I see myself, I can make impact, I can play this game, it can take me far. So I came around and talked to my guys, and now I fell in love with another thing. Let's go and make it.
Muhammad was on the national team when they placed 4th in the 6-team field at the All-Africa Games in 1999. Today, he's the captain.
You can see the All-Stars guys here too.
He works as a barber in Tema. It's about $1 for a standard cut, 50 cents for a shave.
That's a great photo. I love that.
Ghanaians encountered baseball at the U.S. Embassy in the early 1980s. Interest grew and teams and leagues were set up in Greater Accra. But over the past few years, competition has dwindled.
More than 500 names here, from the senior to the little league. We have 29 teams in Norma. Why we can't play competitive league?
I'd like to introduce my delegation. And,
Enter Georgian Tim, a Ghanaian immigrant and founder of the New York-based African Development Foundation. In February, he brought an envoy of American baseball executives to Ghana. The group included Mets general manager Omar Minaya, Hall of Famer Dave Winfield, and former manager Dusty Baker, among others. Ghana's vice president and the U.S. ambassador were there too. Their mission? Run clinics, scout the talent, and promote the game. When I got to Ghana nearly 2 months later, the buzz had died down, and the Black Stars were playing Brazil. I wanted to see how they're managing to sell a little-known sport to this soccer-crazed country. I wondered if baseball even had a prayer. Reverend Albert Okran runs a Christian mission group in Accra. He's also the volunteer president of GABSA, the Ghana Baseball and Softball Association. It's part of the Ministry of Education, Science and Sports. In other words, if it concerns baseball, it concerns Accra.
Our parents used to beat us up when we use all our time playing football. They would say, stop that thing and study, learn. Learn hard to become a doctor, a lawyer. But now things have changed. And all these young guys, making it big in Europe. And that's what we want to make baseball to become.
Michael Maywu started playing 9 years ago. He plays third base for the national team.
I'm from poor family. My mother don't have money, my parents don't work. So maybe sometimes I'll be selling orange around. Then I saw them playing baseball. But first, I'm a footballer, I'm a good striker. So I asked one of my guys, I want to play baseball. So he said he can teach me how to play baseball.
Baseball takes up most of Maywu's time these days, but he's frustrated with the game's lack of support.
But we need help, big help. Right now, that's my problem now.
Equipment is hard to come by in Ghana. For Little League and Tema, several teams share the same bats and gloves. And with 32 sports agencies to oversee, the National Sports Council has no money for GABSA right now.
Okay, nice one. We want to see players improving, growing in the baseball game. We don't have it. That means it's supposed to become a system. We don't have that type of system. To make we up. We can play it up to 6 months and flop down again.
The African Development Foundation hopes to generate interest by making equipment available, and Accra's been distributing it to local schools.
I'm very grateful, and I know my children are going to take part in it, and then we will be one of the leading schools in baseball soon.
Okran has weekly meetings with the GABSA board. Finding sponsors is a usual agenda item. It's also his biggest challenge.
If there's no money, you don't get too many committed people. And if you don't get too many committed people, you cannot raise, more money.
The players see things differently. If you play it, the money will come.
I told him we don't play baseball for sponsorship. We don't play baseball. I don't believe in sponsorship before I can play baseball. No. The players are not demanding for money to play baseball and have money. Just put some trophy down, let's fight over it. That's all.
The government wants to see baseball take off as well. It views sports as a development tool, just as it does agriculture, industry, and education. They hope it will create wealth and alleviate poverty. Ghana, which celebrated its 50th anniversary of independence from Great Britain in March, also wants to find ways to identify with more developed nations.
Not many Americans will get up in the day and read about Ghana.
Prince Odoro Mensah is head of the National Sports Council, the agency responsible for implementing government sports policy.
Like it is with all third world countries, information flow to the first world is not that smooth. And people are not aware that we are doing exactly the same as the advanced worlds are doing.
Nice it.
Hit and run, but hit and run. Behind the runner.
Despite the team's hopes of international competition, organizers of the All-Africa Games cut baseball out of this summer's events in Algeria. The reason? Lack of interest in facilities. Many national team members haven't heard the news. It's another broken promise. Ghana couldn't afford to send them to the previous games in 2003.
This is a big blow. It's become so difficult that I don't know how to properly communicate this issue with those who have been practicing. Time again, there's a promise that they will go, and they are not going.
Okran's pinning his hopes on a plot of land at the University of Ghana. There, space is set aside for the country's first baseball stadium. An architect friend of his drew the plans for free.
Okay. So we have here the initial sketches.
George and Tim's African Development Foundation, the National Sports Council, and the university signed a pledge to develop the site. And Tim has planned a fundraiser for the ballpark in New York in June.
So you enjoy the game, you enjoy the view and the scenery.
For now, though, the scenery includes the anthill in left field and the neem tree in right. Still, that doesn't seem to faze the national team.
I shouldn't wait before somebody want to take me to the States before I'm going to train. No, I want to be ready anytime. If I'm supposed to get a little bit chance in the States, I'm going to put my impact very strong. People are going to die. A Ghana boy can play baseball like this?
Winfred is my best player from New York Yankees. David Winfred is my favorite batter. He can hit home runs, so I want to be like David Winfred. So I'm training hard.
Though Maywu's only 17, he and other senior players may be too old to play professionally if baseball ever really takes off here.
Maybe if I couldn't play national team, I can be a coach. Can train little boys. Maybe they can be a star.
I love being a baba. It's not what I want to do. I love playing baseball more than me cutting hairs. I like to impart my knowledge to the kids, other people. At 50, I want to stay back and watch everybody playing baseball in my country. Where I don't get that, I know the baseball. No, I didn't do my job.
So we thank you once, Heavenly Father, to bring us around together, make us strong.
There could be somebody in America who may think that Ghana hasn't got even an airport. So it is not surprising that they think that we don't play baseball. Because as a developing country, and the picture that sometimes is created about Africa, it's about war, it's about famine, it's about distress. So normally there's a tendency to think that, oh, the baseball is an advanced game. It's a game that is so technical. It's a game that is flamboyant. Some people even, it's an elite game. That is the impression. But we don't see that way. We see that it's a game that anybody at all who has the enthusiasm to go in can play.
After I arrived in Ghana, 2 players, accompanied by coaches and a local journalist, were invited to attend the final week of the New York Mets spring training. U.S. Ambassador Pamela Bridgewater saw them off.
And they asked the question, why baseball in Ghana? So I said, why not baseball in Ghana?
It's taking off already, and we're just being moved along with it. I think the storm is big, so it's just carrying us along as we go.
We're going to Florida, and we're going to do what they never expected of us, you know? Because we're from Ghana, you know what I mean? And we're going to do that. And they're going to learn, and they're going to understand that we can play baseball in Ghana. Yeah. Yeah, good. Yeah. And you're going to see. Just come to Florida, and we'll tell you.